the podium National Garifuna President, the National President of National Garifuna Council, Mr. Andrew Castillo, to give remarks on behalf of the National Garifuna Council. Way Andrew Castillo.
Protocol has already been established, so I extend my greetings to all those who are present here today. And those who are watching and listening to us on the various media platforms. But I extend a special warm welcome to my mom, who at 94 years old, there you go, mom, you're watching. I'm happy to say that she's watching us abroad. Buenos dias, good morning. And that's the extent of my linguistic abilities. Thanks everyone for joining us today from across the globe for our official 19th November 2021 ceremony. I hope that wherever you are, that you may be blessed with the love of family, friends, and the spirit of the ancestors. Today we are celebrating the official arrival of our ancestors to the coast of what is now Belize. We have been forcibly removed from our homeland, St. Vincent, Yorome, imprisoned on a barren island called Balisau to perish. This, ladies and gentlemen, was a genocidal act by the British colonial masters. We refused to die and eventually were loaded onto some boats and abandoned on the island of Roatan, Honduras, far away from our homeland. The challenges that our ancestors faced seemed insurmountable, but they persisted and survived. From Roatan, we migrated to mainland Honduras, where some remained. Some went south to Nicaragua, others went north to where Guatemala is now, and west to the settlement at the mouth of the Belize River and what is now the country of Belize. Fast forward to the present, and we are still facing challenges from different angles, but we will survive. It is infused in our DNA that acceptance, resignation, and defeat is unacceptable. Like what Gloria Gaynor said, I will survive. I, Garifuna, will survive. In this regard, I would like to refer everyone to the theme for the year 2021-2022. Abu Amurunu, Hagabu Garinagu, Awansa Wamalao. I for you, you for me is the Garifuna way. Let us move forward. As a people, we need to come together to face these challenges, with a few of them being of urgency, namely land issues, economic challenges, cultural erosion, the perception of the lack of unity, etc. And these have been compounded by the arrival of the coronavirus. The theme is a tried and tested roadmap for addressing these and other challenges in our lives. NGC has been executing some projects to address some of these challenges. There is a GEF SGP funded project where we are demarcating the lands that were traditionally used by our ancestors in 6 of our traditional Garifuna communities, namely Barranco, Penny Pundagoda, Sienbai, Georgetown, Hopkins, and Dangriga. Traditional use include places where we forage for medicinal plants, resources to build our houses, the forest that we roam to find the suitable trees to build our boats, where we hunted, where we fished, the keys that we go to when we are celebrating our ancestors, where we farmed, resided, etc. These maps are almost complete and are undergoing a final revision, which includes consulting community leaders and elders for their approval. These maps will be shared with the government and the general public at the appropriate time, and we will be seeking reparations for the lands that are considered lost. There are currently 2 projects that are agriculture-based. One of the things that our ancestors were adamant about was the concept of self-reliance. let us do for ourselves as a community, and that includes food security and sovereignty. This pandemic has exposed our current lack of food security, and NGC is doing something to change this. All of our Garifuna communities are engaged in this project, and that includes training in agricultural practices, traditional practices, our traditional crops, home gardening, etc. The aim is to encourage our people to eat healthier, and the best way we can do that is to grow our own food. There are a number of degenerative diseases that have been affecting our communities: cancer, diabetes, renal failure, etc. And these can be attributed to the foods that we are consuming. And these projects, by the way, are centralized at the property owned by NGC at the Chiluhadiwa Garinagu Monument Park, better known as the monument, or Bulisi Monument. NGC is also engaged in a project that speaks to gender equality and gender violence under the umbrella of BENIC. And BENIC is the Belize National Indigenous Council. There are women and girl issues that need to be addressed, and that will be a significant component of this particular project. There is also the need to strengthen our various civil society organizations, and NGC will take advantage of this to do some institutional strengthening to make us better and more efficient. Under BENIC, we are also involved in the RED project. The RED Plus is a United Nations-backed initiative that aims to curb climate change by stopping the destruction and the deforestation of forests. Forests include mangrove forests that are being destroyed indiscriminately in the name of development. These forests are vital to us as an indigenous people, as it helps us to retain our cultural values and enable us to survive. Some of our challenges. Land is the premier issue that is currently challenging to us as a Garifuna people. National Garifuna Council recognizes the need to secure Garifuna land rights, and has made it a priority to ensure that our people are educated in this regard. As referenced in the GEF-SGP project currently winding down, we have made this clear in the 6 traditional communities included in this project, and anyone who considers themselves a Belizean Garifuna should take note of this. It does not matter what part of the world you live in. If you are Belizean Garifuna, you have roots in one of these 6 communities. NGC also advocates that no Garifuna person sells their land. A significant portion of the lands owned by Garinagu is land that was held for them by the ancestors. And selling those lands is giving up your birthright. There is always an alternative to selling. Our communities are also facing economic challenges that are affecting our way of life. Ever since project came to our communities, our traditional way of life has been eroded. We have lost or sold our land, so our ability to farm has been diminished, and we have gotten dependent on wages. We have lost access to many of the keys where we used to fish, and the hurdles to become and continue to be a productive fisher folk has diminished that capacity. So we have to depend on wages. This means that we have to seek employment elsewhere, and currently the wages in Belize are depressed. It is notable that in our communities, that employment in our communities is hard to come by. And when you do get employed, it is often difficult to maintain that employment. In Hopkins, for example, the number of locals employed in the local establishments is shameful, and they're being replaced by non-residents of Hopkins. Of course, others deserve to be employed. But why is it that the local residents are often the victims of displacement? In the days gone by, there was an economic boom because we had Commerce Pipe here as a focal point for shipment of our agricultural products, and also to receive imports from abroad. There was stevedores from Dangriga, Hopkins, and the surrounding areas who were making a decent living. This pier has been described as the best natural docking pier in the country, and for some reason, it was abandoned, thereby depriving us from an income stream. I will hasten to say, though, that there is always cause for hope as we have to become more innovative in creating employment for ourselves, as what a few of our residents have done. So let us continue to explore those possibilities. Another concern is the cultural erosion that is taking place in our communities, and that is affected by both internal and external factors. Internal factors include our diminishing efforts at speaking our language and immersing ourselves in other aspects of our culture. We must be mindful that our cultural practices are what made our ancestors survive against all odds. The external factors are the influences of those who come into our communities. The influx of non-Garifuna in our communities has contributed to the curtailing of some of our cultural activities because they, the non-Garifuna, do not like them, and the authorities have contributed to this erosion. A simple example is that of a foreigner complaining about our Beluria in Hopkins, and the police came and stopped it. As an indigenous people, that is an insult, and that has to stop because it goes against the human rights guaranteed to us by the international instruments such as the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. The perceived lack of unity in our communities is also a challenge. Under my presidency, I am calling on every Garifuna person who claims Belizean roots, at home or abroad, to join a branch of the National Garifuna Council. Reach out to your community of preference. Talk to the members of the NGC there, and they will guide you. There is strength in numbers, and the challenge we face will be easier to face if we support one another. I call on all our professionals to lend a helping hand, using your particular expertise to improve the life of our people. Aubu Amurino. The National Garifuna Council is on social media, and there you can get information on what we are doing and what we plan to do. The aforementioned challenges have been compounded by the coronavirus pandemic. We at the NGC continue to impress on all and other Belizeans to follow the safety protocols as deemed necessary by the authorities. Follow the signs. Wear your mask. Avoid crowded areas. Wash regularly. Use your sanitizer. Most importantly, get vaccinated, because it is better to feel the pinch of a needle than to be rushed to an emergency ward where you have to be hooked up to a machine. Along with this protocol, there's also traditional medicine that you can use to enhance the treatment. So it combines the traditional and the Western medicine to get better. In conclusion, I would like to repeat that we should follow the philosophy of our ancestors as stated in the creed. Reach out to your neighbor with the spirit of unity and benevolence rather than negativity and disrespect. What redemptive value is there for you as a person or for us as a people if you spend your time trying to project negativity into others? Let us hold hands in unity and face the challenges that we are facing. In unity, there is strength. I will ask everyone who has the ability to find YouTube, listen to the Palacios and Hindu, Garifuna and Alaga, and the famous sea whales, Garifuna Nuguya. Laulia Negro, Seaman.